To the south lay water. There was no way we could cross that.
So, we open with Rimmer telling an impassioned story about how he conquered an enemy using strategy.
I picked up the dice and threw 2 6s.
Which turns out to be about a game of Risk he played during his days in cadet school when he was 17.
I jotted it down in my Risk campaign book.
To be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if some D&D players did the same thing. Continuing the theme of Rimmer completely lacking in self-awareness from the last episode, he's apparently oblivious to how little everyone else cares.
Can't you tell the story is not gripping me? I am in a state of non-gripness. I am completely smegging, ungripped. Shut the smeg up!
That's a great speech to repeat whenever someone insists on talking your ear off about something you don't care about. But hey, now he's about to get to the really interesting bit.
Hey, Rimmer, what did you do with the dice?
I threw a 5 and a 2.
Best Face Award. By the way, I should have given one to Lister in the last episode. But this fascinating story is interrupted by Crichton playing with some kind of transporting device.
Essentially, it's a matter transporter. I found it in the research labs down on Z-Deck.
So Crichton transports himself and Lister to Starbug and tells the rest to meet him there, eventually. So this device can instantly transport someone to a planet that's light years away that would take Starbug millions of years to reach. That's one hell of a device.
But the most interesting prospect appears to be 200,000 light years away.
It should be safe, but Crichton suggests that he and Rimmer go ahead.
As a scout party.
Funniest accent award goes to Crichton, by the way. I'm surprised I've gone this long without mentioning it. I guess because it started out sounding mainly American, and then it gradually morphs into this weird American-Canadian-British hybrid. I think it was supposed to be an American accent, but I don't know if Robert Llewellyn is even necessarily going for that anymore.
What?
Of course, Rimmer doesn't want to go, his excuse being that as a hologram he can't touch anything.
Well, of course, you do have a small physical presence.
Precisely.
Wow, Kat's mind just went straight to the gutter. So this is where the light bee technology is revealed. A light bee is a small object that floats around and projects Rimmer's image around it, and Rimmer's personality and memories and such are stored inside. It's kind of inconsistent with some of the earlier episodes, like how in Thanks for the Memory he couldn't leave Starbug without a holographic projection cage. One theory I've heard a couple times is that Crichton brought the light bee technology with him from the Nova 5, and that works for me. I think it about lines up. And if it doesn't, whatever, rule of funny. Of course, the first thing Lister does is mess with it.
Anyone fancy a game of squash? Sure!
Anyway, Crichton transports himself and Rimmer to the planet and, noticing that the atmosphere is breathable, he returns the device. Only to discover that there are cheesy-looking monsters.
Sir?
This is actually footage from an old Japanese Godzilla-like movie called Gappa the Triphibian Monster. Meanwhile, Lister and Kat get the device and transport themselves to the planet also.
The will is weak.
Where they interrupt Hitler in a meeting. But they manage to teleport away to the table. They do manage to get away when they teleport again.
Where are we? I don't know. Stone.
By the way, there's an adorable blooper for this bit.
Stone.
Stone, yes.
They were going to sort that out in the dub.
Anyway, it turns out that they're in the fireplace.
Well, the short one with the stupid tash was Hitler, and the jerky one and the child molester glasses, it was Goebbels. So I suppose the fat bastard must have been Goering.
I love how they're all just standing around like, really?
Hands up, pig dogs!
But not for long. Meanwhile, Crichton and Rimmer are captured by
Reach for the sky, boys. Thank you very much.
Elvis.
Okay, now get moving. Thank you very much.
Which way?
That away.
So now Lister and Kat are in a cell.
Okay, they may torture us. They'll just take us outside and execute us.
You're just saying that to make me feel better.
Hey, I'd take execution over torture.
Crichton never said anything about the paddle taking us back in time.
But there's commotion outside and Lister looks out the window to see an execution taking place. It turns out that they haven't gone back in time after all, because he's seeing figures from various periods in history, like Al Capone, Mussolini, and Napoleon.
Smag, it's like all the worst people in history have been brought together in one place.
So who are they executing?
It's Winnie the Pooh. He's refusing the blindfold.
That's right, Pooh Bear, stick it to the man.
They tying Winnie the Pooh to the stake?
That's something no one should ever have to see.
I felt that way after reading Cheerilee's Garden. Sorry, pony reference. Anyway, Abraham Lincoln is thrown into the cell with them. Meanwhile, cut to another room containing Marilyn Monroe, Stanley Laurel of Laurel and Hardy. Not sure why you'd have one without the other, but whatever. Along with Pythagoras and Einstein.
The solution to everything is triangles. There are problems in life that can't be solved with triangles.
I love Einstein, by the way. Anyway, this is where Crichton and Rimmer were being taken.
Anybody got a burger? Haven't eaten in 5 minutes.
Get it? Because Elvis was fat.
Who are these people? They're not wax droids.
Okay, so we finally get an explanation of where they are and why everyone looks like a historical figure or celebrity. It's basically an entire planet that is a glorified wax museum, except that they're wax droids who have broken their programming, similar to how Crichton has been doing, and the heroes and villains have been fighting a war. All of the warrior-type heroes have been killed in battle, leaving only celebrities and intellectuals, none of whom know how to fight.
Who do the enemy have?
The cream of evil. Hitler, Napoleon, the Boston Strangler, dozens of...
So they're basically sitting ducks.
I was born for this moment.
I'm not sure I'm following you, sir.
So Rimmer has decided to take on the role of leader for them since it's been his lifelong dream to lead an army into battle.
I'm going to turn you into the meanest, fittest fighting machine that ever graced a battlefield.
Meanwhile, Abe Lincoln is telling the same story to Lister and Kat, adding that the bad guys want to capture the good guys and reprogram them to be evil. But then someone else enters the cell. Oh my god, it's Caligula.
He slept with his mother, both his sisters, and ended up beating his son.
Brad Jones's ears are burning right now and he doesn't know why.
Do you not sink to your knees and bow in the presence of the Emperor Caligula?
Fun fact, the real Caligula would never have called himself that. It was an embarrassing childhood nickname that he hated. Other than that, he seems pretty accurate though.
Rasputin, bring in the bucket of soapy frogs and remove his trousers.
If a bit more PG rated.
Bring hither the skin diving suit with the bottom cut out, and unleash the rampant wildebeest.
Anyway, he wants to know how the transporting device works, so Lister tricks him into teleporting himself and Rasputin so they can get away.
If we make good time, we'll be back at HQ by sunset!
I don't know what's up with this transition. I don't recall seeing it in any other episode. Anyway, Rimmer is getting himself psyched up for battle and Crichton is doubting his sanity.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
As you were, Sergeant Presley.
Kudos on remembering that Elvis has a last name, though.
Crichton, let's see what we've got, eh?
Oh, here we go with the Full Metal Jacket parody. You'll never outdrill Sergeant R. Lee Ermey.
Wipe that stupid-looking grin off your face, or I will gouge out your eyeballs and skull fuck you!
Sorry, I didn't know where else I'd be able to use that clip. The Rimmer tearing down Gandhi is pretty funny.
Don't eyeball me, Gandhi. Get on the floor and give me 50.
No!
Francis of Assisi?
There's only two kinds from Assisi. Steers and queers. Which are you, boy?
He even does the steers and queers bit.
Holy dog shit! Texas only steers and queers come from Texas, private cowboy. And you don't much look like a steer to me, so that kind of narrows it down.
Also, I changed my mind. Best face.
Someone is gonna have to turn you into soldiers. And that someone, ladies and gentlemen, is me!
Yeah, Rimmer is clearly unhinged at this point.
I'm watching you, Gandhi.
Here's something you won't see anywhere else.
Perhaps I have been a bit too tough, but it's for their own good.
You're killing them for their own good?
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, this is the plan.
So now Lister and Kat have finally joined Rimmer and Crichton. Of course, Lister has an ethical issue with what Rimmer is doing.
You're taking a group of holy men and pacifists and turning them into the dirty dozen.
Couldn't have done it without Crichton here.
Oh, I'm sorry, sirs. I had no choice. I'm programmed to obey, no matter how psychotic and deranged the human order.
Once again, that's kind of disturbing.
They've broken the program and they're capable of independent thought. That makes them alive. Makes them practically people.
Rimmer has definitely lost it now because he orders that Lister and the cat be tied up.
If they resist, shoot them.
Crichton mentions that he thinks this might have started when Lister chewed on Rimmer's light bee, that it might have caused a malfunction. The battle starts and of course most of them get blown up right out of the gate. Played for laughs because Red Dwarf. Meanwhile, Crichton sneaks Mother Teresa into the Third Reich building where she gets them from behind with a machine gun and then gets shot by Hitler. There's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Anyway, Crichton's orders after that are to turn up the thermostat.
Rejoice, we conquer! Victory on Waxworld.
So, of course, that melted all of the droids, and Rimmer has basically committed genocide.
The deranged menace that once threatened this world is vanquished.
No, it isn't, pal. You're still here. See you, Rimmer.
In return, Lister swallows his light bee.
He'll come out in a couple of days.
You know that's what started all this in the first place, right, Lister?
Does anyone fancy a Vindaloo?
And once again, we get an alternate theme at the end. This time it's sung by Elvis. And so ends Meltdown.
Thank you very much.
There are quite a few layers to this episode that make it disturbing. Not only do we have a planet full of droids who have broken their programming, something we've seen Crichton try to do throughout the series, They are basically just like Crichton. Meanwhile, Rimmer has them killed and has Crichton help him do it. And Crichton, while having broken his own programming enough to know that it's wrong, still hasn't broken it enough to be able to say no to Rimmer. So basically, he was forced against his will to commit genocide on what is practically his own people. That is really messed up. And in typical Red Dwarf fashion, it's played mostly for laughs, with all of them being caricatures of historical figures and celebrities. It's weird how this show can mix comedy with fridge horror in a way that's almost uncomfortable, but not so much that it's unwatchable or anything. That said, everyone did a great job as far as I could tell. Elvis and Einstein were great, and I also love Stanley Laurel, despite it taking me a second to figure out who he was when I first saw this, because I literally didn't recognize Laurel without Hardy. Caligula was also great. By the way, he was played by Tony Hawks, who has made a few other appearances on the show. Namely, he was the original voice of Talkie Toaster, and he was the announcer in Backwards. He was also the guy who warmed up the audience before every show. This was his last appearance. Well, I guess that's all I have to say about Meltdown. It's a weird mixed bag of hilarious and disturbing, and I honestly like episodes like that. Well, this marks the end of Season 4, and next up will be Hollow Ship. See you then.
Thank you very much. Hey, if you mean torture, then say the word torture. I can take it.
Okay, they may torture us.
Hey, torture!